turn it up a notch, a blazer, keep the heat on. We up at the crack of dawn, not the ones to sleep on. Now you about to hear it from the best.
Welcome back to another episode of the Score with AP. I'm your host, Alexis Pierce. Of the Score with AP is a podcast dedicated to amplifying the voices and stories of women athletes, both on the court as well as off the court. Today, I'm joined by a former Vanderbilt women's basketball player turned content creator. I'm super excited to have you on, Jada.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'll just go right into it. First of all, congratulations on an incredible run this year. You guys made it to the Sweet 16 for the first time in 17 seasons. So congratulations there. What did it mean for you to be a part of such an incredible historical run with Vanderbilt women's basketball?
Yeah, it was an honor to be a part of the run that we had this past year, but it's the reason why I wanted to come to Vanderbilt. I wanted to be a part of a rebuild. Coach Ralph had just come in. She was bringing her staff, and I wanted to be a part of that. And, you know, it's special. And to see it go from not great to pretty great, it was cool.
Yeah. You mentioned from starting off not being great to great. When you go into a program like Vanderbilt, who's known as primarily a school of education, not really focused on sports, I guess, and success wasn't always guaranteed for you. But what made you choose Vanderbilt?
I wanted to go to Vanderbilt because I think academics are super important, and I wanted to get the academics, the SEC, and then also live in a city. I come from a small town, and I was like, I can't do this much longer. Like, I want to feel what it's like to live in a bigger area, more things to do, you know, more diverse, more places to eat other than, you know, local chains and stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to come to Vanderbilt, but also the selling point of Coach Ralph, like UConn player, coach, very successful, knows how to develop, and has really high standards. And I wanted to be a part of that.
I mean, Coach Ralph, a resume that speaks for itself. Obviously, she coached under Gino. She played at UConn as well. They won a national championship in 2000. She's just been incredible just to watch her journey throughout these years. But for you, what has she meant for you both on the court as well as off the court?
Coach Ralph has been a really great mentor to me. She's always shot it straight with me. And I think the biggest thing that she would tell you is that when girls come into her program, she wants us to develop as players, but more so as people. And I think that she stayed true to that. And it shows in the way that she cares for us and the relationships that she builds with us. And so I'm super appreciative that I got to play for a coach like her, because I know it doesn't come around often. But I mean, she's been a great mentor, always been there for me and supported me, and no matter what I wanted to do.
Yeah. What's some advice that Coach Ralph has given you? I mean, you've been with Vanderbilt for the past 4 years now, and I know before that you told me that she'll be extending your education there. I don't know if I didn't know if you want that to be out yet, though. Okay, but what advice she's given you throughout the 4 years that might have just really stuck with you, not only just as a player, but just in your personal life and as you've matured into a young adult now?
I would say this might not be something that she's explicitly said, but something that I've observed about her that I really admire her for is just her work ethic. She is relentless in the way that she prepares and the way that she shows up every single day, very consistent. And so I hope that I can be like that, going forward in life.
Yeah. It's so funny because I saw this, I guess, throughout you guys' tournament run. It was this video that they put out, and it was like, I want them to be kind, but I also want them to kick ass too. And it was like so blunt and straightforward. But I went back and kind of watched a little bit of her playing time, and she's super relentless, super tough. And Gino also talked about it as well, just her demeanor on the floor as well as a person. But it definitely translates into you guys on the floor. I mean, like you said, Sweet 16 run, and it wasn't easy for you guys. What did it really take to make it as far as you guys did and not really have a blueprint? I mean, like you said, going into this, I don't even think you came into it wasn't a 20-win season. It wasn't until I think your sophomore year that you guys actually got 20 wins, and now the most wins, 29 wins, the most wins in like 13 years now. So what has it been for you to be a part of such an incredible program that's also building?
Yeah, I think what it took for us to have the success that we had this year was complete and total buy-in from player 1 through 13.
Yeah.
And just for everyone understanding their role, which is really important no matter what it is, and doing that role really well every single day. So there's an accountability factor that comes with being on a team, and just having the relationship and the trust with your teammates to where like we can call each other out. I should say call each other up, not call each other out, because we want each other to be great. And so I think that's really what the key was for us this year.
I would be remiss if I didn't talk about, since we're talking about Coach Ralph, your most viral video on TikTok when you guys put up to her house for a sleepover. Not many athletes can say they can just pull up to their coach's house and they'll be receptive of it. What kind of went into that, and did you know it was going to blow up the way it did?
I would say that whole scenario is just the epitome of the relationship that Coach Ralph and her staff has with her players. Like I said, not a lot of people even want to go talk to their coach in their office, but we pulled up on Coach Ralph and Coach Tom, her husband. And I mean, they didn't know we were coming, and we stayed the night. Like a lot of people thought that we just kind of showed up and did it for the, you know, for the video to kind of blow up. But like, no, Coach Ralph started pulling out sheets and beds and like making sure everything was ready and, you know, making sure we had food and things like that, and just making sure we were comfortable, because we just love spending time with them. And they've always had the open door policy, not just with their office but with their house too. And, you know, just very welcoming and family environment.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not many people that can say that going into a program, especially now with so many, the transfer portal and like building relationships with your teammates, building relationships with your coaches. You can't really do that in 1 year. You know what I mean? Like, it takes time to build out. But what did these relationships from the players as well as the coaches mean to you? Not even just this season, but throughout your entire career here?
Yeah, I would say the relational aspect of being a part of the Vanderbilt program is something that I didn't expect to be this deep. You're around these people every single day. This becomes your new family. And for almost all of us, we're not from here, and we're moving away from our families, and our parents are trusting us with, you know, a staff that's supposed to be taking care of us and girls who are going to have our backs, which is a scary thing. But they know how to do it really well, and it makes being a player and being a part of the program super easy and seamless, especially as a freshman. And I mean, I thank Coach Ralph because of her, I have 3 bridesmaids like out of it, and, you know, friends for life, and people that, you know, I talk to on the daily, whether they're here or, you know, they're transferred or graduated. So yeah, it's been my favorite part of being on the team.
If you don't mind me asking, who are those people on the team that you've really, you know, grown a relationship with that are going to be your bridesmaids?
Camille Pierre. So I played with her my freshman. Well, I'm sorry, she was a freshman, sophomore. I was sophomore, junior. Sorry. So we got really close. We roomed together for a year. Brian Allen, she transferred to Villanova. We came in as freshmen together. We roomed together freshman year and sophomore year, very close. And then Bella LeChant, she's like my older sister. She's 2 years ahead of me, so I got 2 years with her before she graduated. And we got close because she would give me rides everywhere before I had a car, and just little things like that. Like, she became like my Uber driver, and now I get to do that for other girls and build relationships with younger girls on the team now. And just, you'd be surprised at how close you can get with someone just getting a ride to practice or, you know, to an event that we have to be at.
No, trust me, I know. Just being a former athlete as well, those girls that I played with and went to war with each and every day are now my long-term friends and sisters that will eventually probably be my bridesmaids in my wedding. But I think those are extremely important to have those relationships. But to counter that too, for y'all who don't know, she's not talking about for the future. She means soon, because you did just get you are engaged. To kind of talk about your journey, because I mean, you're really young now. I mean, people wouldn't say like they want to be engaged at this point in their lives, but you've known your now fiance since you were a teenager. You guys went to high school together, correct?
Yes, we are from the same area. Went to kind of rival high schools. Yeah. And I had always known who he was, and because we had mutual friends, it's a small area. But then just kind of met junior year, and it just took off from there. And we both played college sports, and he committed to Indiana, I committed to Vandy. And so we knew it was going to be a long distance situation for, a while, but I wouldn't suggest it unless you really think you're going to marry that person and you really love them, because there's, a lot of complications. But I think it helped that we're both athletes. So we both understood being too tired to talk or, struggling with earning playing time and kind of just the mental side of it. Like, we were really able to support each other through that. And and I got a ring out of it and a partner for life. So I'm really grateful that God kind of just had oversight over our relationship. And
Well, you talked about just you guys' understanding of being a student athlete. It's not easy, maintaining those friendships, let alone a relationship. Indiana won the national championship. Kind of talk about how you supported him throughout that, as well as you doing your thing here. So I know it was you couldn't make the game, right?
I couldn't. No, I made the Big Ten championship game. It just lined up perfectly. We had a couple days off, but I had to watch the championship game actually, we were traveling home from a game that day. So I saw the second half of it after we got off the plane and
And talk about just that journey of, like you mentioned, the support that you've given both each other throughout you guys' journey.
Yeah, his experience with college sports started off not great and then hit like the peak that everybody wants to achieve, winning a national championship this past year. But he went through a coaching staff change and, coming into a system that, you're not familiar with as a freshman and really having to like build a name for yourself and earn time. And so I'm really proud of him because he's kind of been an example for me to just stick with it and, stick with it long enough, work hard, and you'll eventually reap the benefits of doing so. And so I think I've kind of used him as inspiration whenever I've struggled in college just to stick with it.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, what's the date?
July 2nd.
Of this year?
Yeah. So we're under 3 months.
Oh my gosh, how much planning has gone in? And where is it going to be, back in Arkansas? Or?
Yes, back home in Arkansas, a lot of planning. We have a planner and she is amazing. Like, I'm so glad that I booked her because I don't know what I would do without her, but just little things like all the vendors and the decisions that you have to make, especially as somebody who I don't like making decisions and you have to make a million of them and it seems like it's never going to end, but I'm really excited about it and it's going to be perfect. Well, it's not going to be perfect, but I don't know. It'll be as close to perfect as it can be.
Yeah,
so.
I love that. And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Are you going to be you guys' are you going to hire yourself to be you guys' social media person?
No. While I wish I could do that, I think I'm going to be too stressed the day of to do that. So I hired somebody to do that. It's actually our babysitter growing up does wedding content creation now, so she offered to do it for us. So
your babysitter?
I say our. Me and my siblings' babysitter offered to do Kaden and I's wedding content creation.
Love that. Well, let's go right into your journey as a content creator. It started for you at a summit back in 2024 where you decided that you wanted to pick up the camera and kind of, it started off giving back to young athletes and your journey as being a Division I athlete. For those who don't know, run it to them.
So I was at the Black Student Athlete Summit, great event. I went 2 years in a row, and it's just a great time to meet people who look like you and have the same experiences as you, but are in different conferences, different sports, different parts of the country, different experiences. And so we came together and you just hear from a lot of people, different panels. They'll bring in some good famous people too, which is cool. Like we talked with LeBron's agent, like he came and spoke to the group, which was really cool. And they'll have breakout sessions in the afternoon. But while there's a lot of like learning going on, there's a lot of like, you're having fun. And so you're staying up really late. You don't want to say no to anything. And so, you find yourself out really late at night, but then the next morning, you got to be up for, the panels and the breakout sessions. So it was one of the last days of my second year of going. And my friend Maya on the track team at Vanderbilt, she was like, hey, can you come with me to this breakout session? And I was kind of like, I want to go back to the hotel. Like, I'm tired, but let me be a good friend. Let me go with her. And so the breakout session ended up being about personal branding and how can you market yourself on social media and eventually monetize off of it. And so I was like one eye open, like probably blinking my way through it. But I heard enough to feel inspired. Like, what if, like, can I make this happen? Like, let me try it. Like, it's scary to think about. And like, oh, maybe I'm going to like, be embarrassed, or what are people going to say about me? But I was like, I don't care. Like, let me just see if I can do it. So I started out posting just things that I thought were useful, because I feel like in order to establish an audience, you have to be able to provide something to them that they need, like some kind of knowledge, entertainment, whatever it may be. So I started to think about, well, what do I wish I knew when I was younger? And it was recruiting advice and walking through the process of talking to schools and what should you be looking for and what are the red flags and, what questions should I be asking coaches, the players on the team, that kind of thing. So I started posting about that, and wasn't seeing a ton of growth, but I was trying to stay consistent. Like all, the influencers, just stay consistent. Just post, a couple times a day. So I was on it, like very dedicated. You could ask my teammates, like during that time, I was like locked in. Like I was like, I'm going to make this happen, always videoing things and taking pictures here and there, like coming up with, I was in an internship at the time that I didn't love. It was with insurance, but I just needed something to do. So a summer internship, and I didn't have a lot to do. So I would sit at the desk every day and think about like, just brainstorm, like what's the next video I'm going to make, or what can I share? And so then I would go home from the internship every night and like just start creating stuff and post. And so by the end of the summer, when we decided to do the surprise sleepover, I was like, maybe this would be like a good, something to just kind of throw in the mix. It ended up going viral, and that's kind of when my growth started taking off. So that was the end of the summer, and come, fall semester, school's about to start. I'm like, I'm not going to have a ton of time anymore to be, coming up with these types of videos. What else can I do? So I was like, I guess I can just film what I'm doing because it won't take any more time out of my day to just, I'm going to class, I'm going to practice, like just film it. And, maybe people are interested to see what it's like, what the, day in the life is like. What do I eat? Those kinds of things. So I started posting those, and I just kind of built off from that.
What's been the most rewarding thing about it?
Definitely the comments, DMs, meeting people face to face who watch my videos and support my content, and just hearing how it's positively impacted them makes it all worth it, because it is difficult. It's very time consuming, and it just makes it worth it to me, because you see the numbers, and it's hard to sometimes associate that with these are real people. And so when you get to meet these people, or like hear their stories and how you're helping them, when they message you and things like that, it really makes it worth it.
What's been your most surprising DM, or how have you been able to not only obviously use your social media platform to help other people, but the advice that you've been able to give up and coming high schoolers who want to obviously aspire to be in a D1 or wherever you go at in your life? But what advice have you given them?
I tell them that if you want it, you really got to work hard for it, because a lot of young girls will say, I really want to go to Vanderbilt. But I will tell them that there's a lot of sacrifice involved. Like, you don't just kind of wake up one day and you get a call from the coach and, hey, we want you. Like, it takes a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, and a lot of discipline from kind of an early age, and maintaining that discipline through different stages of life, through middle school, high school, and like just staying resilient through all the obstacles, because it's also not just like a linear type of deal. Like, you're going to, face a lot of things through middle school and high school that are going to, make you think that you can't get to where you want to go. So
100%. Obviously, I've been through that journey as well. And we don't have people who are telling you tips for recruiting or what to look forward to. Like, for you were thankful to be a part of a really good program, but not everybody can say the same thing. So now, as a young person kind of going into the landscape of recruiting and trying to figure out where their next home will be, like I say, everybody's not doing that. Nobody's telling them, especially if they don't have a mentor to really polish them into that aspect of it. But you were able to do that. And I know that probably brought a lot of people insight, especially if you don't have somebody who you can look up to. Because like for me, I'm from Savannah, Georgia. I had to go to Atlanta to be on the circuit. I didn't play AAU until the last year you can play, because I didn't know. So if you don't know, you just don't know. So having that knowledge and you being able to utilize, and you going into that breakout room, even if you didn't want to, definitely change lives for the better.
Yeah,
I love that. Just kind of going back a little bit, just talk about your journey. What inspired you to play basketball?
This was so long ago. I'm trying to think. When we moved to Arkansas, we were all pretty young. I say we, my siblings and I, big sports family. So if I say we, I'm just talking about my siblings and I. But my parents wanted to get us into sports. And so they were looking for opportunities, and they came across the local churches. You know, they have a league for, you know, soccer, football, basketball. So they just threw us in there and we're like, let's just see, you know, what do you like? So we were those kids that were, you know, playing every sport. We were doing dance and taking tennis lessons, swim lessons, like just seeing what we liked. And I liked basketball because, one, it's climate controlled. I don't do the elements. I don't do the hot, the cold,
Girl,
the rain.
trust me,
So I was like, soccer's out. But I also like to score. And so in basketball, I'm like, I can score way more than I do in other sports. So I would say, like, very early on, I like basketball for those reasons. But then I don't know what really, I guess I just had like a genuine passion for it, and I just stuck with it. And once I learned that you can actually go play for a college doing it, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm going to make sure that I do that. And that just kind of fueled me.
Did you have people that you looked up to, or is it maybe like people that were in the W or that you looked up to kind of get you more involved into basketball, or was it just kind of something, just a passion and love for it?
I loved watching UConn when I was younger. Like most
sense.
people, I was like, I got to go play for UConn. And I ended up playing for UConn in a different way. But I loved watching UConn, and I think it's so important what I do in terms of representation, because the reason why I wanted to play for UConn is because I saw somebody who looked like me, who I was like, I think I could be like her. Like, you know, she's got curly hair, she's a light skin, Kia nurse.
Yeah.
I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. And so that's why I feel so passionate about sharing what I do, because I want people to do the same. I want them to look at me and be like, I can do that too.
If you can see her, you can be her. Yep. It's cliche, but it's real life. We talked about the glamorous parts of your journey, but I'm sure throughout anything in life, you endure challenges. What has been some adversity that you've might have faced just throughout your content creation journey, especially knowing you have a lot of eyes on you, or what have you, knowing that you're bringing out, you know, your phone and your teammates, you know, they may not want to be on video or whatever the case may be, or just anything that you might have endured throughout your time. What adversity did you face throughout your time here?
I would say adversity that I've faced in terms of basketball, just being a part of this team, and my experience in college is so I played the bookend years. Freshman and senior year played a lot. Sophomore and junior year didn't play a ton. And that's really hard, because a lot of times we'll place our value in what we can do and how much you're playing, how much you're scoring, how much you feel like you're contributing. But then if that's not in the cards for you this season or even the next season, then a lot of times it can feel like I don't feel a part of this. Like I'm not really doing anything. And that's where I think the content creation really helped my esteem, because it gave me a purpose outside of, well, if I'm not playing, then like, how can I do something else that makes me feel a part of the team, even if I'm not on the court contributing to wins as much as I want to. How can I help with recruiting, or how can I help with just my overall like attitude towards being a part of this, and just being grateful for where I'm at, because, you know, I'm, you know, all down in the dumps about, oh, I didn't play again. But then I have comments like, wow, like that's such a nice gym. Yeah. But to me, I'm like, I mean, I get to see this every day. Like, this isn't anything special for me, but just really grounding me and like just focusing on where my feet are, because this is a luxury that many people don't have. So just be grateful that I'm here and that I get to wear this uniform, not, you know, always thinking about what I don't have.
Yeah. You talk about not being the go-to player or what have you, and people think that's the glitz and glamour of it all. But for you to take a niche that you cultivated for yourself, you really were able to build a culture out of Vanderbilt. Like you said, people commented about a gym that wasn't there before in hindsight in terms of the social media aspect. People seeing the day-to-day life, the behind the scenes. And that's what people want to see. And as you alluded to, not playing, that can kind of get you down in the dumps, but you were able to change the culture of Vanderbilt and really build those relationships. When did you see that shift really happen, and what did that mean for you to be able to still add value off the floor?
I think when I really started realizing my reach is when one of our assistant coaches, she's kind of like the head of recruiting. I might be wrong. I'm sorry, Coach Ash, if that's not your area, but she does a lot of the calls, like with the recruits and things like that. And I think when kind of the tide shifted for me is when she would start telling me that recruits are talking to her about, oh yeah, like I know Vanderbilt because of Jada.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because of me? Like not because of like so-and-so who just did this and just won this award and, you know, the things on the court, but like being able to bring visibility to the program, not with my basketball ability, but with a different gift that God gave me that was something that I didn't see for myself, you know, when I started college, but it's something that came out of it. And, you know, just being able to add value outside of that and, you know, people, you know, bringing it to the coaches like, yeah, like we've seen Jada's videos and like, oh, I already know what the locker room looks like. I saw Jada's video.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you saw my video?
I love that. In an era where student athletes are now being able to be capitalized from their name, image, and likeness, how much value has that brought you from a relationship with brands and getting those type of deals?
Immense value. My advice to college athletes, current college athletes, if you're not like, how do I want to say this? There's so much money on the table that's being left on the table because of, I don't know, fear, kind of how I had at the start, like fear of, you know, people making fun of you or this is embarrassing, but like you can make so much money from it. And brands want to work with college athletes because of the platform that we have. And so I'm glad, well, I wish that I would have started doing it sooner. I'm glad that I just did it in general, but I would have loved to have started doing it sooner because I can only imagine, you know, how much bigger and better it could have been while I still had the title of being a Vanderbilt women's basketball player. But that would be my encouragement to other student athletes is to just do it. You don't know what can come from it. And even if, you know, nothing comes of it, you got all these videos and memories that you can look back on and be proud of.
I love that. I have two questions for you. What has been your favorite brand to work with so far?
That's a good question. There's a lot of them. I like to work with brands that I have been big fans of because then it's like, oh, I've been using this product for you know, so long and now you want to work with me. Like, I'm currently working with Biore. They're a skincare brand. And like when I was growing up in middle school, like that's all I use. And so now it's like, oh my gosh, like I've been using this, this product and this brand and like now they want to work with me. So I don't know if there's like a specific or like even like DoorDash, like I'm a DoorDash Uber Eats girl. So whenever they reach out to me and they want to work with me, I'm like, I feel so special because I'm like, you know who I am. So yeah.
I love that a lot. What brand do you want to work with in the future that you haven't yet?
I mean, I would love to work with Nike. Okay. I would love to work with Aloe. I'm not really sure if Aloe does influencer marketing, but I love Aloe. I love Nike. I love Lulu, Aritzia. You know, I like to shop. So
love that.
If anyone's watching this and they wanna work with me, let me know.
My emails are open. But to that point, while you do a lot of your front-facing stuff, there are obviously a lot of behind the scenes. Who negotiates your deals? What have you learned in those negotiation processes? Or where does that really look like for you?
So I signed with management about a year ago, and that has been a huge help because before signing with management, I was receiving inbound emails, negotiating the prices, handling all of the edits that the brand was asking for, all of the communication, which is a lot to be a student and to be, paying attention to your sport and all the other things that comes with life. But then I signed with management, and Erin is my manager. She is really helpful. So she'll negotiate, handle the deals that come in, negotiate all the communication. All I have to do is create the content, do the edits that they ask for. She'll send it back out to them. She'll handle the legal stuff. So it's been pretty seamless ever since signing with management.
And I'm sure before that it was a lot for you to manage. I do want to ask with that, for a lot of student athletes who feel like they're just so have to be just to their sport, like you can't do anything outside of your sport because you're so dedicated to it. What advice would you give those who want to do be multifaceted, and it may not be content creation, but anything else, especially now, is so much that you can get into and just not be a student athlete. What advice would you give those people who want to step into different elements of or hobbies that they're interested in rather?
Yeah. I would say it's only going to benefit you to start spreading yourself into different rooms for your future and for yourself now, to not be afraid to take the first step because you don't know what can come out of it, and to just keep your aspirations high and not limit yourself. Sky's the limit. Just keep going and just pursue it.
Yeah. So another pillar that when I was doing research about you, was your faith journey. That's something that you've been really open about. Kind of talk about that element. And then I know I saw a video of you. I think you were at Vanderbilt and you were just talking about you had a speech, and I really enjoyed watching that. But talk about that faith journey that you've really built for yourself.
So my faith journey, long story, but started at home. My parents, very faithful people, and instilled that in us from my siblings again, from a very young age, taught us to love God, to love people, and to just be good people. And so when I got to college, I knew that it could go one of two ways. I can either stick with it because I don't have my parents, making me go to church and do this and that. So I can either stick with my faith and strengthen my walk, or for a lot of kids who, grew up in the church, it might decline because you don't have somebody, telling you to go to Bible study and things like that. So when I got to school, I really wanted to be intentional about, finding community that I can walk in faith with, and people who are, going through similar things, and just a good, group of people. And so I was lucky enough to find that at Vanderbilt. They have a really good ministry. It's called Who You With Ministry. And from it, we have a co-ed group. It's FCA with girls and guys. And then we also have a more intimate, just girls Bible study group for the student athletes. So just really, really grateful for that ministry, because I think without it, I'm not really sure where my faith would be right now. But, I don't think God makes mistakes. And I think that's a big reason why he brought me here.
I love that. Speaking of community, you were awarded an award this season, a Fort Community Service Award. Talk about the services or the community service that you've done that kind of garnered you that award.
I'm not going to lie. I was surprised when I got that award.
Yeah.
Have I done some volunteering and community opportunities? Yes. But I think that I used to do more of it when I was freshman, sophomore, but then it kind of fell off just because of lack of free time. And maybe it's because content has kind of inserted itself. Yeah. You only have 24 hours in the day, and I got to sleep at least 5.
Yeah.
So
5, that's it.
So we got to do some really cool community service opportunities as a team this year. And when we went to Paris to play our very first game, we hosted a clinic with Cal, the team that we were playing against. But it was kind of cool because it was we're all on the same team, at the end of the day, even though we're playing each other in a couple days. But we got to hang out with the kids in Paris, and none of them really knew English. So it was just, I think that even made it more special because it was just basketball. The only thing we really had in common was basketball. And, even if you can't communicate with them through language, we still have a shared language of our love for basketball.
What's up, y'all? It's Alexis Pierce. I'm here at the Nashville Podcast Room, home of Up the Score with AP. This is a podcast dedicated to amplifying the voices and stories of women athletes. Tune in to watch some of the latest episodes and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. I love that a lot, especially considering I feel like I didn't have a lot of community service opportunities in college, and I would have liked to have more community service opportunities. But the fact that you were able to build that for yourself, that's awesome. What was, if you don't mind, like going into the speech that I would mention that you posted on TikTok, which I really enjoyed watching, as I mentioned, what went into it, and what was the whole? Tell me just a little bit about it.
What went into it? A lot of courage, because one, I don't like speaking in front of people, and I don't know why this is, but like I can post for, hundreds of thousands of people and it doesn't bother me. But if I have to like stand in front of people and I can see their eyes looking at me, don't like it. So I would say one, courage, two, just a lot of faith, a lot of prayer from myself and from a lot of people who support me. And I was just praying that God would speak through me, like whatever it was that I said, like I was hoping that it was going to resonate with whoever needed to hear it, and that God just took over, because it was a difficult topic for me to talk about. I was talking about losing my dad a few months ago and what I've learned from it. And it's not something that I talk about much on my social media or with even people close to me. So yeah.
What I know that was an adverse time for you. I saw article where Coach Ralph said it was the time where you didn't even know you were going to return to the game because of the passing of your father. What made you decide to come back to play, and the adversity that you faced during that time, and who helped you along that path?
Yeah, I'm not sure if whoever interviewed her maybe misunderstood. It was never really a question of whether I was going to come back. Solely because he would tell me I would be crazy if I didn't come back to basketball on behalf of him, or because, for even a day I was just worried about, being in my own grief that I can't return to something that I love, that we both loved, and that was a big part of my and my dad's relationship. But in terms of support, like Coach Ralph flew the entire team and staff to be at his celebration of life, and I didn't know that she was doing that. Wow. And I'll never forget just like seeing them come through the doors and just feeling this overwhelming sense of peace, but also just unwavering love. Yeah. And it goes to show what she's cultivated at her program, that it's not just about what I can do for her. Like this really is a family. And it's tough because every coach in every program is going to say, oh, this is a family, but like not every program is like this. Yeah. And so from the minute I took a couple months to stay home with my family, but as soon as I got back to campus, like my teammates were great. My biggest thing is I didn't want it to like feel like I had a gray cloud over my head. Like I wanted to take enough time at home to where I could come back being my best self, and that I just got right back into it. Like no buffer, nobody, kind of making it seem like a big deal that, I was just gone for a few months, but they did a really great job of just making me feel comfortable, and like, some traumatic life event didn't just happen to me. Yeah. And it just made this year so memorable. Yeah. And in a lot of ways, like this has been the best year of my life, while also being like one of the worst, which is kind of hard to explain, but I'm just so grateful for all the blessings that I had, because I think without it, I would be in a different place mentally. Yeah.
How did you get through that grief that after the passing of your dad, and what advice, for especially as a student athlete who we wear so many hats, we have to show up in so many different ways, but be able to maneuver such, like you said, traumatic experience that you experienced? How were you able to get through that grieving process?
I'm not sure if I'm an expert on this because I'm not through it. I'm not sure if there's ever an end to grief, but my advice to a student athlete or to a non-student athlete experiencing this is to seek God, because there's really no other way and no other thing that's going to satisfy you like the presence of the Lord. And without that, I wouldn't have been able to make it through. Yeah. And I don't know how people try to make it through without the Lord. And so that would be my biggest advice.
I love that. What's your favorite Bible verse?
I like Romans 8:28. And it's, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And so that's been a big thing for me the last several months. While I might not understand why the things that have happened to me have happened, I know that God is working for my good and his glory. And I just have to remember that.
I love that so much. A couple of days ago, what is today, Wednesday, there was a draft. And obviously, you didn't declare for the draft yourself, but you had a teammate, Justine, who got signed to the Indiana Fever. What was that moment for you guys? I know you guys were, together during that, if you were kind of go into it a little bit.
I wasn't there were a few girls who got together. I wasn't with them. I was solo dolo watching the draft in my apartment. But I just felt so excited for her. And man, I've just seen her growth from when she transferred in, I guess both of our sophomore year to now, personal growth, on the court growth, maturity. And I'm just so happy for her because she works really hard. And this is a lot of people's dream. And to see, one of your friends and teammates, someone who's always supported me, to see them finally reach that, I couldn't tell you how excited I am for her.
Vanderbilt hasn't had a WNBA draft pick since 2014, and that just goes to show the trajectory of where Vanderbilt is going. And you were a part of that growth and that buildup of Vanderbilt. What does that say about that program?
I think that Vanderbilt is becoming a really desirable destination, like you said, because of the work of the people who bought in early when the stock was low. Yeah. But then we made it a place that you want to invest in. And now people are seeing the fruits of it. And they're kind of like, oh, where did Vanderbilt come from? They just kind of came out of nowhere. But only, the few of us who have been around for a while have seen just the long days of practice and the really hard losses and the 14-win seasons that has just all contributed to where we are now. And I think a lot of the pride that I and my teammates feel for Justine being drafted is Coach Ralph created a culture of wins and awards and personal accomplishments are because of the team. And so when I see somebody winning, I know that it's more than just that person. We each had a piece in Justine being to where she is. And that's not to take away from anything, any of her work, because, she is a super hard worker. But we all got to have a piece in her journey that is getting her to where she is now. And it's cool to be able to say that.
And I love that I don't remember how you framed it, bought in when the stock was low, and you brought in somebody like Michaela Blakes, who has just been phenomenal for you guys and really changed the trajectory of Vanderbilt women's basketball. And you don't really see a player of her caliber, or of just Justine caliber committing to a Vanderbilt. But what has your relationship maybe with Michaela been in this season or the past couple of years?
The thing about Michaela is everybody sees what she can do on the court, but that's not even the most impressive thing about her. She is a great friend. She's a great teammate. She's funny. She knows how to make people feel special. And I think her ability to make relationships while also holding the weight of being the star player is really impressive to me. Because I know that she feels a lot of pressure because, she's got to show up every night for us to be Vanderbilt. Yeah. And even when she doesn't, or if she can't, then she knows that we have her back. And that's just, the dynamic of our team.
Now with you retire, you have a series, a retirement from basketball series on TikTok. Now that you are retired and you're going into your master's year, what do you think that those days in the life will look like for you moving forward?
Very different.
Yeah.
I'm still the same person is the thing. I'm hoping that people continue to follow me, not because of the role that I was playing and the position that I had, but because of me. I I mean, I still like to, eat snacks. Like, I don't make snack bags anymore, but now I make snack plates or like dessert plates.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like lifting in the weight room anymore, but I've found like I went to Solid Core for the first time today. I like that. I like running at Centennial Park, like just different things like that. Like, I'm still very passionate and intentional about my life, and I'm going to continue to share it, but I hope that people follow me for me and not because of Vanderbilt.
Maybe 5 years from now, when you've gotten all the brand deals and the Nikes and the Aloes, what is your dream day in the life? Or are you already living it?
I don't have much to complain about now. I live a pretty blessed life. But in 5 years from now, I hope to be in broadcast journalism is what I think right now. And how we were talking about, like, if you can see her, you can be here. Like, I see Andrea Carter, and I want to do that. Yeah. Like, I want to be talking about the WNBA draft picks on draft night, or I want to be at the Final Four, color commentating or sideline reporting, or doing analyst work at halftime. So I'm going to pursue that as kind of my vision for, the next 5 years and onward in the future.
What was that? Where did that love come from? Because I know we talked about marketing that you're moving into, but where did that love for broadcast journalism come from?
I'm not really sure. Yeah. I think the first person who told me that I might be good for it was one of the, like a groundskeeper at one of my dorms my sophomore year. His name's Harvey. And he would stop me every time I came out, out of the dorm for class or wherever I was headed. And he would always talk to me, for a couple minutes every morning. And I haven't seen him since then because I moved off campus. But he was the first one that kind of was like, you would be great on camera. Like, have you ever thought about, sitting at the table and talking about, the game and things like that? And so when he first told me that, I was like, okay. And that was before I had started social media. But now I feel like I'm familiar with the camera and I'm decently conversational. So I think, it could be something that I could pursue and be passionate about.
Have you had any talks with Drea or anybody in that field already?
So I got to job shadow Holly Rowe at the SEC tournament this past year. So she came to our school to do some interviews for ESPN. So she did Coach Ralph, Sasha Washington, Michaela Blakes, and myself. And at the end of the interview, she asked me, what do I want to do in life? And I was like, well, I create content. I like doing that. But I was like, I think I kind of want to get into a little bit of kind of what you do. And she was like, I'm glad you said that because, I was kind of thinking you would be good at it, which to me, that's high praise coming from Holly Rowe. Like, she's the best at what she does. And so she was like, I'm going to be at the SEC tournament. Like, let's see if you can kind of job shout at me or, figure out something in that capacity while you're there. So the day that we played our quarterfinal game earlier that day, I was sitting with her at the table during the second half of Kentucky and South Carolina. And I got to kind of see the intricacies and the ins and outs of what she does. And it was really cool. And it definitely piqued my interest even more.
Was there any advice that she gave you throughout your time just kind of shadowing her?
It was very quick. And I would say,
you guys were going to be playing too. So.
Again, kind of how you asked me earlier about Coach Ralph. I don't know if this is something that Holly necessarily said, but more something that I observed was just how creatively she thought. And I think that's the cool part about reporting is like, it's not black and white. Yeah. Like you can make it and cater it to your own style. So she wanted to tell a story of how Joyce Edwards used to be, she used to do ballet when she was younger, but just like using like information that she knew about Joyce's childhood and her upbringing and how that's translated to basketball, like being able to like pull from multiple sources and put together a story, which I think is kind of similar to what I try to do on social media is like telling a story of who I am, but I think it's cool that she's able to do that for other people.
Yeah, you're just doing it in a digital footprint as opposed to being live on TV right now. But honestly, I do think that you would be a great analyst or a host, whatever you may be. So stick to that because the way you even talk and how articulate that you are, definitely take on that. I can see you doing that. Last question I like to ask all my guests is, at what moment did you decide to up the score?
Up the score as in like Explain.
Just when you decided to really believe in yourself, knowing that you were capable with more than that you could imagine. Obviously, you're playing Division I women's college basketball. Like, not everybody can say that they did that. So for me, it was points in my life where I was like, man, I know that I can be this. I know I can do this. While I'm still growing in that aspect, I've gotten glimpses of that. So I'm continuously up in the score in my life, but it looks different for everybody. So for you, at what moment, or maybe it's just something that you're still up in the score. So that could be it too.
I mean, I would say that like my parents really pounded this mentality from an early age. Like no matter what we were doing, like do it with like all of your heart and make sure you're putting all of your effort into it. Like if you're going to commit to something, like don't do it like halfway, like do it with all of your energy, put, everything you can towards it. But I would say like a really big moment when kind of the trajectory of my basketball career changed was when I started to play kind of like you. Like I'm from a small town and I had played locally, but I was like, I know where I want to go and playing here isn't going to get me there. Yeah. So my dad started driving me to play for Cy-Fair, EYBL in Dallas every weekend. Like we would wake up at 3 a.m.
How long is that drive?
About 6 hours. So we would wake up every Saturday from like April to the end of the summer. We would wake up on Saturdays at 3. We would drive 6 hours. Practice would start at 10. We would practice like 10 to 5, and they would give us like a little lunch break in between. And then Sunday was usually like 9 to 2. And that was like every weekend. Like I would get in the car, go to sleep. My dad would drive me. I would wake up. Oh, we're in Dallas. Like I would just sleep the whole way. And I wouldn't be where I am without my dad's sacrifice and him believing in me, honestly, more than I believed in myself. And so, I would say that was maybe my biggest up the score moment when I was like, this isn't going to cut it. Like, I gotta kick it up.
Yeah, I love that, especially considering like you said, myself, having to take those sacrifices and have parents that made those sacrifices for you. I wouldn't be where I am today without the sacrifices of my parents as well. So I know what that journey means. And now it's like, for me, I'm like, I'm ready to give back to my parents for all the sacrifices that they've made for me, just going to AAU tournaments, because AAU was not cheap at all, making those drives from Savannah to Atlanta. So I definitely understand that sacrifice. But I think that kind of lands the plane for us. I really appreciate you, Jada, for sharing your story. Any last remarks? What's next for you now, other than grad school?
I'm gonna just keep living life. Just keep learning, and through school, through content creation. I'm a very go-getter type person, so I'm always thinking like, how can I make myself better? And like even from just being here, I'm like trying to learn like, okay, this is the equipment that they have. Like these are the cameras. This is how they set it up. Like if I want to I want to start a podcast, like I need to like learn from people. Or if I want to start a brand, like how can I get that off the ground? So I have like a very entrepreneurial mind, and I don't know, I'm going to try to use it to its full capabilities. So we'll see where it takes me.
So safe to say podcast coming soon?
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Jada.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's time to up the score with AP. It's time to find out what it took to get to what we did. Had to turn it up a notch, a blazer, keep the heat on. We up at the crack of dawn, not the ones to sleep on. Now you